Today we're going to be talking about the 3 mods that I think everyone in the van world should consider. What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things. I just got back home to Colorado from Bisbee, Arizona, and I was of course down there for the Weird Wild West event. I started filming a video of the whole event because I wanted to kind of show you guys how everything was going down there, but it was honestly too weird to put on YouTube. So if you guys want to experience it, and you definitely should, because we had an absolute blast. It was definitely one of the more fun van events that I've ever been to, because it wasn't an expo. We weren't there to really talk to people. We were there to hang out with the community and kind of throw all the product talk to the side. So it was an absolute blast. I talked to a lot of van owners there, from storyteller owners to DIY builds and everything in between. People were checking out my van, I was checking out their vans, and it got me thinking, what are some of the top mods that everyone should consider when modifying a van? Now, if you ask me this question personally, I would probably say something like having armor, so the bumpers and the lighting, and having a winch. All that stuff is great for my specific use case, but there are some people who build out vans or buy vans like the storyteller that I'm sitting in right now, and they just like going around to campgrounds and RV parks, and they don't need lighting or winches or armor. They don't need a Starlink flat mounted to the top of their van. So what are the 3 things that absolutely everyone should consider? So this is going to be a top 3 list, some of the items that I've been thinking about over the past 3 days. They all have one thing in common, and it is something in the van, on the vehicle, that you interact with more often than anything else. So without further ado, in no particular order, we're starting with number 1, the mattress. Now, if you are just an occasional weekend warrior, you're only going out on trips in your van maybe a few times a year, then this one, it really isn't going to be for you. However, for the people who are more serious about the van life, obviously you spend a lot of time in your bed, and this goes for people at home too. I think you should have a really good mattress in your house at home because you spend so much time there sleeping. When it comes to vans, if you do have a van that you're sleeping and camping out of, having a good mattress is definitely really high on my list. I've talked about mattresses quite a lot in the past, and I've been through a bunch of different manufacturers, different types of mattresses between 2 of my vans, and I'm currently sleeping on my most favorite mattress to date. So this right here is the Canyon Adventure Van's Ultra Luxe mattress. I've talked about this in a few videos in the past, but just as a brief overview, Canyon says that this mattress will feel good or better than your home mattress, and I think they absolutely nailed it on that. It's made with coil pockets, latex, and a pillow top with cool gel on it, so the mattress is really nice and cool to the touch. It is quite a lot thicker than the stock Storyteller mattress, and that's of course where you're getting a lot of that comfort from. And out of all of the mattress options out there, this is probably going to be more on the expensive side. However, when it comes to number 1, the mattress on this list, you don't need the biggest and best mattress out there. You could simply cut a pillow topper and throw it on your stock mattress, which is kind of hard. No matter which route you go, a DIY option or like the best of the best option at Canyon Adventure Vans, I think having a good place to sleep is definitely going to be up there on the list. You interact with it almost every single day that you are in your van, unless you're sleeping outside for some reason, so get a good mattress in your van if you're serious about traveling. Now, number 2, some of you may have kind of picked up on where we're going here. What is something that you interact with daily in your van if you're driving it and living out of it every single day? Of course, it's the driver's seats. Now, I have just recently upgraded both my driver and passenger seat in this van to the Scheelman Vario Fs. But again, just like the mattress, this isn't something that you have to spend a ton of money on and get the best of the best. I, of course, cut no corners when building up this van, but you could do something as simple as like an extra seat cushion or one of those back massager things. That would actually kind of be pretty nice when you're driving and putting on a lot of miles. Speaking of putting on a lot of miles, I already have over 25 hours in these seats. I've driven this van for over 200 hours in total already, which is kind of crazy. And on the stock Mercedes seats, I would find myself hopping out to fuel up after a pretty long drive, and my back kind of hurts and I need to stretch. I feel like I need a massage after I'm putting in like 10, 15, 16-hour days. Now, these Scheelman seats that I went with are definitely expensive, but even just after the 25 hours that I've been sitting in this driver's seat, I'm hopping out for fuel and I don't do that like weird jig. My back feels a hell of a lot better. And these are seats that you're going to be sitting in every single day, so that is definitely why this is high up there on my list. Now for these Vario F seats that I have installed here, like I said, these are best of the best. You don't have to go this route, but for anyone who is interested in some information on these seats have 10-way adjustability, and you can adjust them in just about every single way that you could imagine. The entire lower cushion is infinitely adjustable in and out. The upper bolsters that support the side of your torso are also adjustable in and out. That way you can kind of have it hug you a little bit or have it open up a little bit more if you want a little more wiggle room. There's a 4-way lumbar support, up, down, in and out, so you can really get some nice support, and that is basically one of the things that makes these seats really comfortable. I've been using the analogy of comparing these seats to like a really well-fitting boot or shoe. A ski boot as an example. If you get a rental ski boot, you're going to put it on and it might fit, but generally you're going to have some hot spots and it's not going to feel great over time, as opposed to going to a custom boot fitter and getting something heat molded and fine-tuned to fit your exact body. That is kind of the adjustability that you're getting out of seats like this. Now I of course opted for some of the higher end options, so these seats are heated in the back and the cushions. They have map net pockets on the back of the seat, which you can store some extra stuff since you're in a van. And there are hard points to accept armrest on not just one side, but each side of the seat, and that makes these very comfortable. You don't really realize how comfortable an extra armrest is until you have it there. So driver's position, your left arm just kind of hangs up on the window, or you're getting a really bad suntan. Having the extra armrest is super nice. And not only do they swivel like the factory seats, but you can flip them forward out of the way if you just want a little bit more space very quickly. So that's my quick spiel on the Scheelman seats. Everyone asks me, do you think they're really worth the price? They are very expensive. However, just after 25 hours of drive time in that seat right there, I'm gonna give it my thumbs up. My back feels great. I'm still putting in long hours on the road, and it just makes my life in this van a heck of a lot easier. Now for the third thing on my list, things that everyone should consider changing out on their vans. The stereo. Now just like my previous van, I opted for a very simple upgrade to the stereo system, which sounds absolutely phenomenal. Install is a breeze and it really changes the sound in this van, and that of course is the Beatbox coming from Roam Rig. Now a little while ago I brought you guys a dedicated video on my original Beatbox. However, times have changed and these things have gotten even better, so here are some of the highlights for that. Previously the Beatbox system came with an 8-inch subwoofer. Now they are 10-inch subwoofers standard. They are working on an upgrade path for the older 8-inch units, so if you do have one of those, there may be a chance for upgrading in the future. But this new subwoofer is more robust for bass addicts, and it's just a fantastic overall sound. You still have the bass adjustment knob, which I have mounted right up underneath of my cup holders, and having that extra bass is not only good for bass heavy music, but it sounds great on phone calls and for podcasts. When you're actually hearing natural voices coming through microphones, it just sounds a lot better with that little bit of extra bass. Now they've also added a special filter in here to eliminate some of the floor noise that you get out of the Mercedes-Benz chassis. This is Roam Rig basically just taking customer feedback and improving on the system that they already had. I never really experienced the issue with my other one, but sometimes you could pick up on some of like the engine whines through the stereo system with the old unit. They now have a filter in there which basically eliminates all of that extra noise. Roam Rig is also in the process of having a custom component made which will basically allow you to wire in auxiliary inputs like a Bluetooth receiver, projectors, TVs, and then even a way to power the Beatbox from the house batteries in your van. Currently I just have mine connected to the chassis battery, and of course the Mercedes-Benz system will time out after maybe like 30 minutes or so. So if you're sitting in your van and you want to listen to music, you're gonna have to keep pressing the start button over and over again. If you connect that to your house batteries in the back, then you won't have that issue anymore. And last but not least, this is something that I probably won't do, but it sounds pretty cool. You have the option to add more speakers like in the rear of your van. So if you wanted to really deck out the sound system in your van, you could start with the original Beatbox system, which lives under the passenger seat. The 2 door speakers up front are upgraded, as well as the 2 tweeters up by the windshield, but then you have the option to even add some back here in like the living area. It wouldn't be super difficult to do because you would basically just run it out the bottom of the van, go to the back, and then come up back in to kind of get into the doors. But I don't think that's something that I'm personally going to do myself, but it is cool that you have the option now. So those are some of the upgrades to the Roam Rig Beatbox system. I absolutely love it, and I've been showing people when we were in Bisbee over the weekend. So if you're on the road listening to podcasts, jamming out to music, making phone calls, maybe listening to like audiobooks, then I think having a really good stereo is going to be a great upgrade. Now I said this was going to be a list of 3, but I do have to add one more thing into the mix. Something that you interact with on a daily basis, like the mattress, the stereo, the seats, but this one may not be as apparent to people. It's the suspension. Nothing is going to change the driving characteristics of your van like a really nice suspension kit, and when you're doing long drives, you get a lot of crosswinds. Maybe you're on some windy roads. The stock Sprinter suspension is okay. It will definitely get you by in a pinch. I know people who have never changed out their suspension on their vans, and that's completely fine. However, if we're talking about something that you interact with and are really using and feeling all of the time, having upgraded suspension is great. I, of course, opted for the Van Compass 6.3 kit, which is adjustable Falcon suspension in all 4 corners, their OptiRate leaf pack in the rear. You guys can check out the full install video of the suspension with the 2-inch lift and everything. I absolutely love this suspension. I just feel like if I left suspension off of this list, it would be doing you all a disservice. So, those are my top 3, with a 4th honorable mention of things that I believe everyone should consider upgrading on their van. Let me know what you think about this list, and drop some comments, questions, concerns in the comments down below, and maybe we can start a little conversation. So that is all that I had for today. If you guys are new to this channel, consider clicking subscribe because I make new videos every single week. As always, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.